Hello there. This is Aaron. I just want to talk about thinking. Uh, Basically, thinking about thinking about everything. Basically, why things happen, what, when, where, how, blah blah blah, to yourself. And I'm not talking about researching, studying that type of thinking, or calculus thinking, or even educated thinking, or something like that. Just mostly thinking in general about the things around you. I don't really believe that the world thinks enough. This is the reason why I actually like to talk about it. I think it's an important thing for humans to do, probably the most important thing. I don't believe we'd really get anywhere without it. I think it's the only thing that separates humans from animals, is actually using our minds to think about the things around us. We learn through that, and we can teach our own selves through thinking. I don't believe that the only teacher in life is school. School is not the only teacher in life. Living is just thinking. All of that teaches us. Observing all these things around us teaches us just by looking at it and thinking of it. That's already teaching us right then and there. School couldn't do any better than that. So and same thing with professors, teachers, all that other stuff. And next to that, people teaching us, like professors, teachers, and our own parents giving us advice is our secondary teacher, in my opinion. I believe our first primary, though, is ourselves. Thinking is the only thing that will actually do it. And even when someone gives us advice and tells us things, thinking is the only way for us to learn through that, because we have to think about what they just told us. So I do believe thinking is probably the most important thing in human life, and it separates us from being animals. Of course, we don't think enough. We don't. When a human thinks, we have a goal. Obviously, when we think, we want to accomplish something, and our curiosity helps us do that. Why do we have curiosity? Like when we look at something, why do we have curiosity? We hope to find something fascinating about it. And by finding something, we wonder what it will accomplish, basically. When we look at something out of curiosity, we wonder what it does and why. It's one of those fun things that humans have naturally, and it helps us to learn through just that. Now, if we have a goal to make life better, for example, we're going to have more curiosity on knowing how we can do that. And when we think about things, it'll help us learn and help us achieve that goal into making life better. But when we live in this century here, and life is not better, we must not be thinking enough. We must not be thinking to the point where we can figure out how to make it better, but we haven't done it. We haven't made life better. Thus, we haven't been thinking about how to do it. We have, naturally, we wonder, but we haven't thought about enough things around us. We haven't thought outside the box enough. We haven't gotten ourselves more flexibility to think, wider around us, rather than just on certain topics, but on every topic, to really figure out thoroughly how to make life better. If we thought enough, obviously I believe we would have a better life. If we thought enough, what would it look like? Well, I think we would be able to find out the problem. And I think that's what the answer is right there. We obviously, since we don't think enough, we haven't found the problem. We only think to a certain extent, and without flexibility. We think inside the box, so we never have found the problem. Here's an example. I'm not trying to blame anything on just one thing, but say school, for example. What if school is causing a huge problem to this world, or this country specifically? Guess what? This problem ain't going away. It would never go away. You know why? Because mostly adults, no one ever will imagine that school could be an issue right now. That school could be a problem with our lifestyle. No one would ever imagine. And you know why? Because no one thinks. No one actually thinks outside the box. We always assume normalcy. I learned this word, normalcy biased. We're so normalcy biased in this world. This is why this is a business world, because we're normalcy biased. We suck. We're boring. We only stick to what we think is the norm and nothing more than that. We're not creative humans. We're not. Normalcy biased. No one ever believes that school could ever do us wrong. So we live in a shitty world. There you go. No one ever believes that certain things can do us wrong. Thus, this world ain't going to change. It's not going to change because we don't think that this could do us wrong. We only think that maybe certain things are going to do us wrong. So we're focusing our attention and thinking about these things. Thus, we never have had a change, a proper one at that. If we want to change, we have to give ourselves more flexibility and think about the things that could be, possibly, maybe not, maybe so, could be doing us wrong. And school, for example, could be one of those things. Work, jobs, could be one of those things. If we think more about how these things are, then we'll actually make a change to this world, and we'll do it instantly, faster than we ever thought we could. But it's going very, very slowly, too slow, because we hardly think outside the box. We hardly imagine that these things could be causing a huge problem. I will explain how they are causing a huge problem. I'll get to that some other time, maybe now, I don't know. It depends how this conversation carries. But yeah, for example, I guess I'll dissect school a little bit. Like, if school basically, what if our problem in this world is that kids can't succeed, obviously. Kids can't, I don't know, they can't get past school, they can't focus on what they need to do. And we instead of looking at school, we think about how, I don't know, the kids are in their environment or something, or how the parents are with the kids. Basically, we blame and put the blame on them, the actual people, rather than what could be causing their life to change in that horrible direction. What could be causing them to do wrong or to not focus on school. So if we thought about school and them and the economy all at the same time and how it's affecting each other, we'll find the pieces to that train and how it wrecked. We'll find how they crashed, what leads them into that crash. But we'll never do that. We won't, because we don't think outside of everything. So to me, thinking is very important. We'd be able to actually figure out how problems happen, how they're created, and how they happen so frequently, and where they come from. People have to be very, very open with their thinking, and everybody needs to do it. That's pretty much all I have to say for now. Thank you.